We rolling? We rolling?
Should I include that in the video? If you had to buy, say, 4 pedals.
4 pedals?
Which would you buy?
Well, if your amp doesn't have reverb, number 1, you gotta have reverb. Absolutely must. Unless you live in a church, most of us don't live in a church, we live in small confines like this, you're gonna want to add some depth to your tone. So you need reverb. I'm a huge fan of delay. Real, sorry, but most of us love delay, okay? Most guitarists I know use delay.
So a reverb pedal and a delay?
Reverb, well, like I said, if your amp doesn't have reverb built in, most amps do, but many amps don't. Any classic Bassman, Tweed, or Marshall circuit will not have reverb built in. What pedal maker do I like the most? Honorable mentions would be J Rocket Designs. I recently got this Vertex T-Drive, which is a replica of the famous Trainwreck amp in a pedal, and I'm having incredible success with that and my Fender Twin. So really big fan of Vertex, although the amp maker gets a lot of hate on the gear page for him because he apparently ripped off some designs and sold them as his own.
Okay.
So a lot of people just won't touch his pedals with a 10-foot pole. I personally really don't give a shit. If it gives me the sounds that I want, I'm not an ethical pedal buyer. I'll buy whatever makes me sound good.
So the other day you posted on social media channel, you posted something to do with the Vertex pedal.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the steel?
That's the T-Drive.
The T-Drive.
It's a Trainwreck. I cannot say enough about this pedal. This pedal has rocked my world. And I'm, out of all the pedals I've owned, I forgot the guy's name, owner of Vertex, but you killed it. And he also sells an SRV, a few Dumble style pedals. One is called the Steel String.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what that is, an extremely kind of light, transparent overdrive, and apparently it's what they call an always-on pedal. And once you, it's next on my list. It is the next pedal.
I love the sound of it because you posted a video from YouTube, and it's
awesome.
It was a lady playing guitar, and just the tone. I was thinking about it all day long.
Well, that's Vertex.
Yeah.
The guy, they're getting tons of hate on the internet, but they're producing incredible pedals. So yeah, so J Rocket, Vertex, but there's so many great pedal makers.
So what about Boss?
Well, Boss, nothing wrong about Boss. Boss is the meat and potatoes. They pretty much wrote the book on pedals.
They're owned by Roland, right? So it's
yes.
Okay.
They've been around forever, and nobody should discount the quality and consistency and how famous their pedals are. The SD1 Overdrive is one, and the Boss Distortion, the DS1 and the SD1, are two of the most famous, widely used distortion pedals of all time.
I have a question for you about overdrive versus fuzz. Do you find there's much of a difference between the sound that you get using a fuzz versus a overdrive?
Fuzzes are gonna be more saturated. They come in germanium and silicon transistors. I'm no electronics expert by any means.
That's my GoPro telling me that the battery's dead. So.
Oh, okay. So you were asking about fuzzes versus distortion. They tend to be far more fuzzier, distorted, and fuzzes are a whole world in itself. And I know some guitarists that own up to 20 different fuzz pedals.
The original fuzz was played by Jimi Hendrix. I'm pointing to the poster up on the wall.
Yeah, not just Jimi Hendrix, but Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones was Keith Richards. I just saw a video this morning, because I'm on a big Keith Richards Telecaster phase of my life right now. And he was saying he never uses pedals. The only time he ever did was, well, not the only time, but one of the few times he ever used a pedal was to record Satisfaction.
Okay.
Yeah, so fuzzes are just very fuzzy, and I haven't had good luck with fuzzes. Fuzzes are highly reactive to your pickups and the amp that you're playing it through. So one fuzz will sound different. Actually, that goes for overdrive pedals too. It's a wormhole in itself, and I have yet to find that right fuzz pedal.
I find the problem with a lot of amps is the noise that they create, the ground loop,
Yep.
and the pedals. The more
They add noise.
the more stuff you add to your rig, the more noise you're going to end up getting.
Which is why you need, downstairs, my couch amp has the Boss noise suppressor,
Okay.
which I'm a big fan of. So let's talk about noise suppressors very quickly.
Is that a ground lift? How does the technology behind the
I don't know if it's, I don't know the technology behind it, but basically noise cancelers or suppressors come in two flavors. You have a suppressor or you have a noise gate. So the gate works like a gate sounds like. It reaches a certain threshold and it'll cut off certain frequencies once it reaches that threshold. Whereas the noise limiter, I don't know how it works, but it's a different kind of technology, and it kind of limits your noise as opposed to the gate functionality.
Okay.
I've had a slightly better luck. Actually, I've had good luck with both. High gain amps, I had a gate, trying to remember, I don't remember the name of the brand, but I've got a YouTube video about it if you go on my YouTube channel. Kelster von Shredster is my rockstar YouTube name, by the way.
KELSTER VON?
VON, Von Shredster.
Shredster. SHREDSTER.
So
Check it out now.
yes, hit subscribe.
Oh, wait till you finish this video before you check it out.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to, do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I certainly do. I have two.
Okay.
One is my own music channel, and the other one is a Steam channel. So it's totally different from
Okay.
this stuff. It's technology of a different kind.
Okay.
I also, well, the reason the noise came up, because I noticed you have the Furman power conditioner.
Power
Do you
conditioners.
find that does much to suppress the noise?
Not really, and I'll tell you why. So the idea of a power conditioner is to supply your electronic gadgets with a steady, correct power flow. So just so people are aware, the power coming out of your wall is far from clean, and it's not even really always rated at the exact I guess what
Cycles is
like
60
you're not
cycles.
getting what you think you're getting. Let's just say that.
There's voltage dips and there's amperage
can
dips.
fluctuate.
So.
And then you run the risk of thunderstorms and whatnot. So just in my office alone here, I've got thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gear. So I run a lot of my gear through power conditioners and also a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply.
He's pointing down at a UPS.
Yeah, it's back there. So my iMac will stay on. If I'm in the middle of recording a song and the power goes out, I don't want to lose hours of work, right?
And it's a good point, because you're investing all this money, and then
the power goes out.
why cheap out on $100 UPS? UPS will protect it. Will protect your equipment.
Well, it'll
from
keep your
getting
power
fired.
on.
and will keep.
And it has surge protection. And
It's got better surge protection than your actual surge strip. A lot of times
Yes.
the surge strip is not even. It's
They're
just a
crap.
glorified
They're crap.
extension cord.
yeah, they're crap.
Yeah, so-
Like those are crap. So I'm a big fan of those. Now I should mention that I bought these because I was a professional DJ for 10 years.
All right, now he's pointing at the
Furman
power conditioner.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an M8 and an M8X. They've got a whole whack of inputs on the back, so they can about eight inputs on the back and one on the front. So I've got two of them to satisfy all my amps and my attenuator. I plug everything into that.
So the power station attenuator, is that
That is a fantastic piece of gear. Not only is this an attenuator, but it's a power amp. So I can plug my 7-watt Fender bass breaker.
I think I'm going to bring the camera around just so the audience can see what
Sure,
we're talking about.
I think you should.
Here's the Furman.
Yeah, those are your pretty basic, pretty cheap. They're actually the lowest kind of in the product line. You can spend far more money. My friend Vinod, of course, bought everything he buys is super high end and the best. He's got a much fancier power conditioner.
Okay, so the power conditioner evens out the power coming to your equipment.
It gives you a nice cleaner, and yeah, I would believe that there is less noise introduced into your signal flow when you're getting cleaner power, but it won't solve the problem of, as you said, distortion pedals tend to introduce a lot of noise, And high gain amps are just noisy by design. You just can't do anything about that.
So what does this device here do?
This thing is the Swiss Army knife that every serious amp freak should own. It's not only an attenuator, which allows you to crank your classic Marshall style non-master volume amp. So that's the key here. Most modern amps have a master volume. Well, the old classic amps like the Fender Bassman and Marshall Plexi did not have a master volume. The only way you could get it to distort is if you cranked the amp, which would be blisteringly loud. This allows you to crank the amp to 12 and not break your windows and ruin your cat's hearing in the process. But the beauty of this thing is that it's also a power amp, up to 50 watts, and it has some, I believe, 6V6 tubes in the back. So I can, you might want to turn to my 7-watt Fender bass breaker head. Fantastic for home use, but this 7-watt amp I can now turn into a 50-watt beast. And this can output to 2 different cabs, and it has its own effects loop. So for amps that don't have an effects loop, you can now put your delay and modulation in the effects loop between the preamp and the power amp. Fantastic.